Hey y'all, welcome back to Paws, Purrs, and the Magics. I am your friendly cat lady witch person, Lisa, and welcome to our um, very first witch talks over here at Paws, Purrs, and Magics. I'm waiting for my guests to arrive. My bestie, Shan. And good friend Finn. Looks like Shan is just about in here. I'm just a titch little nervous, and I'm hoping that all is well and this is streaming like it should. I'm just going to do some filler. Shan, are you in?
I am.
Yay! How are you doing tonight, my dear?
I am so good. I'm hoping that uh, my beautiful fur baby decides he doesn't want to be a part of this conversation. Um, because he's pretty vocal.
Right.
But that's okay. If you guys hear him, his name is Tuffy. He's awesome.
Awesome. Hello, Duffy. Hello.
Aunt Lisa
Um,
says hi.
and I guess we're just waiting on Finn. I'm gonna.
Finn he's not going to be on the call because he's at the gym and he's worried about the background noise. I
Well, that's
know.
sad. Okay.
Mm.
Well, you
So
know
it's
what?
just you and me, girl.
Just us hanging out. Um, Great. I know we want to talk about Yule today and a little bit about the Great Conjunction and how not ooky spooky that really is. But also about, I want to start today with how we got started on the path. What led us to the path? Oh, hello, puppy.
I told you he was going to want to be on the call.
Oh,
Because, of course, don't be rude.
so my cats are rude all the time. They're actually presently locked out of the room, I think. Oh, no, actually, Fred is down there asleep in her cat bed. Fred is the oldest of the Clowder, and she is just about 17. Um,
So's
okay.
Tuffy. Tuffy's old.
Oh,
He's my
wow.
grumpy old man.
Hang on just a second. Um, okay. And my quality control guy, um, uh, executive producer Chris, out making sure we're actually broadcasting on YouTube the way we should be. So fingers crossed that we are. And let's see here. He's messaging me again. Okay, he is seeing it. That's fantastic. Great. So
Yay.
we're
We're
live.
live.
We are live. So this works as intended, and I am so pleasantly surprised.
How soon? See, that's the great conjunction. The great conjunction is really about getting tech to work in real life.
Yeah, because boy, it has not been working for me for months. And I'm like, dang, what is it about me that's just screwing with my tech? The phone doesn't work right. My TV just has random personality disorders. My computer was in the shop for like 4 months when we were replacing various bits and pieces of it to try to figure out what exactly had gone wrong. And then I ordered a motherboard for it, and the expensive motherboard that came was dead on arrival, so I had to order another one. Yeah, this is 2020 has not been my technology year. So, um, what we've all had a really tough 2020.
Mhm.
And so I'd like to ask, I know that you're, and I've talked about this a lot on my videos. Shan is the person that I am helping with little bits and bobs as they come in, helping her work on rebuilding her practice. Um, I would do anything for my beautiful friend. She is a shining light in my life, and I adore her, love her to the moon and back. But Shannon, why don't you tell everybody about yourself and how you came to the path and how your craft has helped you navigate the craziness and the pain and the sorrow and the uncertainty that has been 2020 for so many of us. So just give us the give us the Wikipedia bio.
Well, first of all, so much ditto. Um, I love and adore you, and I'm so glad that you're doing this because I'm so freaking super proud of you. So,
Thank you.
so as far as my like short bio history on my Wikipedia, I don't even know. Um, I I came into this part of the craft. I've pretty much been in it pretty much most, if not all, of my life. My great grandmother was in a my great grand was what's called a bruja. So she was kind of like the community witch. That's bruja. So they would come to her for like herbal healing and stuff, and I was her little helper. Every time I would help her plant, she would give me a quarter, you know. So um hey man, a quarter back in the day was a lot of money.
Oh, I know. I remember. You'd take me, give me a quarter and send me to Morningside Drug, and 30 minutes later, I'd come back with a bag full of
Of candy,
penny
penny
candies.
candy.
So
Yes, because it should be stated for prosperity's sake. You and I are both the same age. You're just
mhm,
like what, a month older than I am?
couple months, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in December, you're in October.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're the same age, so we're in the same place in our lives, I guess apparently. But but yeah, so I've been on this path for a really long time. I was a sort of an apprentice or an acolyte to a very amazing high priestess when I was living in Oklahoma, who taught me, trained me, um, because she wanted me eventually to start my own coven. So she trained me to be a high priestess, um, and a lot of everything, basically, because moving sucks when you lose a lot of stuff, and I lost a lot of my stuff then. It seems like that's a recurring theme. I think it's just the universe's way of saying, just start over, baby. It's fine. Don't worry.
Or maybe you don't
Um,
need stuff.
yeah, or I don't
Um,
need stuff because it's not something that I.
yeah, it's not, I'm a very tactile person, so all of the bits and bobs and things that um you use for ritual, because I'm a very tactile person. Did I say textile person? I
No, you said
maybe should.
tactile.
Okay, good, because I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have started with the Roman cooks quite that early.
No, you're fine.
But so having all of the bits and bobs, makes a big difference to me because I connect
Right.
to
A
that.
lot of people do.
Hmm.
Ritual helps us connect ourselves physically with what we imagine mentally, I believe.
Hmm.
I
But
was
when it
I
boils down to it, pointing your finger in a circle, calling your corners with nothing more than your will, and the greatest instrument that you have is your body and
yes.
the energy that you direct through your body. At the end of the day, that's enough. So, anytime I'm doing unboxings, I'm like, none of it's necessary to be a phenomenal witch. This is just a part of how I choose to do my craft. And I know it's a part of how you choose to do yours. And I didn't really mean to interrupt. It just kind of struck me that maybe the universe is though trying to tell you something, that
Always.
rely more on your power.
Hmm.
And that's like, sometimes that's a lesson we all can learn.
Most assuredly. I was um I was raised Roman Catholic, so the ritual part of it, I connect with that a lot. I think it is because I was raised a Catholic, and there's so much ritual in Catholicism. Um, but I always knew it wasn't my path. I always knew it wasn't my path. Um I would do everything and anything to lessen the effects of being able having to sit in church sober. Um, I did have an addiction problem when I was younger, so it was either drugs or alcohol. Usually, I don't
And
know,
here
but
I am drinking rum and cokes.
so yeah. Well, that's just because you were super nervous, and it helps to kind of,
Just a touch.
hey. So that's okay. I mean, I do occasionally drink, and I do, I mean, that
Yeah.
there's moderation, and then there's overdoing.
Oh,
I had a
absolutely.
lot of stuff in my childhood that promoted the self-destructive thing that every child probably in history ever goes through.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, um I connect very hard with the ritualistic part of our belief system. Um, but I also know that it's not necessary because I haven't had tools in quite some time, and I've had to do without for a very long time. Um,
Sorry,
my
that was me opening a can of Coke.
Sponsored by Coca-Cola.
No, just for the record, Coca-Cola is in no way sponsoring this video.
They would if they knew you. Yeah, let's do that.
No.
Let's hitch our wagon to that star.
Oh, I don't think they need my help. I may
I'm
need
pretty sure
theirs.
not.
So Coca-Cola, if you're,
If you're
down with
watching,
sponsoring a
hey.
witch, by all means, I'm here. And clearly, product placement, a fan. So we were hiding the logo just to, be on the safe side. Please don't sue me.
Just to be on the safe side, we don't want the cease and desist to come.
Please don't sue me. I'm sweet. um,
You're having soda and I'm having water.
oh yeah, there's more than soda in there. So when when you were growing up and kind of coming into your craft, coming into your own, you had somebody to guide you
Yes.
up to a point. When did you realize that, okay, yes, this is this is this is very this is an intrinsic
Who I
part of who
am.
I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's as natural as breathing.
Well, it is I think it truly, honestly to God, has always been a part of me. Um, like I like I said, my great grand, um, she died when I was very young. I think I was like 4 when she passed. But I would hang out with her all the time. Um, so I don't have a whole lot of memories, but that's because of a whole other situation of my childhood.
Yeah.
But I have distinct impressions of her and standing over, a bowl, putting in herbs, making up, tinctures and potions, and I have always connected with that part of it. Was the creation of something that ultimately is going to help somebody else.
Hmm.
And you know me, service is my love language.
Exactly.
So being of service to others has always it's an intrinsic part of who I am.
Hmm.
So I've always felt the need to service others before myself. Yes, I know this is sometimes a problem. I know before you start, I know. I hear you. I do.
I know you
Um,
do. I don't doubt that ever, that, when we talk about these things, or, when, I whip out the old lawyer and
yeah, and he
see what,
smacks me down with
yeah,
too much truth.
he is all about the
Yes.
truth bombs.
Yes.
That, you know, that is, there has to be that um, preservation of self.
Yes.
You cannot pour from an empty vessel.
Correct.
And you have so
It's
much
been
to
a hard,
give. You're
it's
an
been a hard,
extraordinary witch, and you have so much. Um, you really, I mean, you are light and beauty and love, and there's a darkness in there too that is so worthy of respect. And
Mhm.
we've talked about this, that also it's time to retire.
Yeah.
The job is done.
Yes.
Turned out
It has served
great.
its purpose. It can
You
step,
turned out great.
exit, exit stage right, please. Thank you. Bye-bye. Um, yeah, I think like everybody else, probably, we're shaped by our trauma.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes that trauma becomes who we think we are. And I don't think that's, I'm an old woman now. I've entered my crone years.
Sweetheart, 50 is
I,
the new 30. Age is an
hey,
attitude, not a chronological disorder.
sorry. Yes, I know. How many times do you tell me this a day? Um,
Lots.
I know. It's because, but you know what I mean, though.
Hmm.
We're past our maiden, and
Oh,
we're past.
thank the divine.
Yes, yes. The gods have been kind. I stopped being a maiden at 30 when cancer
Hmm.
took all that, and I can be a mother. So, but I am now the universal mom. Everybody loves me. I'm always the mom,
Yeah.
you know. Finn, who was supposed to be on this call, my little hedge witch, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like a cross between his mom and his sister, because I'm cool like a sister, but you know, kind of like stern like a mom when I have to be
Hmm.
like, you need to take care of yourself, hydrate or dihydrate. That's what my niece Cass, who is amazing and lovely, she tells me that all the time. She's like, Aunt Shan, did you hydrate or dihydrate every day? But
um, so, how has your craft kind of helped you navigate?
it
Um,
has given me guidance and purpose. I i was lost for a lot of years, because like I said, trauma becomes who you are.
mhm.
um and when my high priestess, my mentor, when she found me, and she literally found me, I was at one of the very few, back in the day, and it was the only pagan shop in Oklahoma, because hello, Oklahoma's not really known to be pagan friendly.
You don't say.
um so
But you would be surprised. You would be surprised, and I have to say this because, you would also think the same thing of Texas, and
mhm,
there are
a lot.
many, many of us in Texas,
Yeah.
um, that I was shocked, and but it's a cool thing because, um, you know paganism, witchcraft has become a lot more mainstream acceptable,
Hmm.
and
Thank you, Charmed.
yeah. I never thought I'd be thanking Shannon Doherty for anything, but here we are.
Mm-mm. Or
But
Alyssa
no,
Milano.
yeah. Well, I've got a lot to thank her for. She's amazing. But
Yeah.
the there are so many more of us than even I thought. And not, try not to be insulting, but not of the flavor that decided it would be a good idea to hex the gods. um, so,
Yeah,
but there
because
were a
that
lot of
always
serious.
works.
No, it
That really
doesn't.
always works.
Oh my god! Now this is way old news, so it's not like we're coming up with anything new here. We are
No,
retreading the past, but for anybody that doesn't know, there was a bunch of young witches on TikTok that were like, we're gonna hex the Fae, and we're gonna hex the gods, and we're gonna hex the moon.
yeah, that's not conducive
Why?
to. It's not
Exactly.
conducive to a lot of things. The moon is kind of intrinsic on our whole beings.
Well, it's
Just
also not
saying.
gonna happen. I
No.
mean, that's the huge difference between playing at, basically doing the craft cosplay,
Yeah.
and actually being a
And honest to
genuine
God.
practitioner. And but what really struck me, and what really has, I think, heartened me, is how many really sincere practitioners there are out there, and that there are so many more of us than I even thought. And so many more out and public about their paganism, or their being a Wiccan, or um, outside of the mainstream religious river. Um, that from even when I started on the path in the 80s. So um, to see it be more mainstream acceptable is kind of nice, because
Yes.
way back in the day.
The tolerance. The
Hmm.
tolerance is a lot more there than it was back in our day when we first started.
Yeah.
Because I too
Oh,
started in the 80s. So, you know,
and way back in the day, witches were basically, um, wise men, wise women,
yes.
um, and villagers
Politicians to
went
be
to
and
them,
lawyers.
yeah, to solve all manner of issues. So
Hmm.
that kind of brings me round to 23 minutes, and we're talking about Yule. Um,
Yay.
and what it means to us, what it means this year, especially in 2020, and how super challenging this year has been for everybody, because there's not a person that has been unaffected by the oh, I'm going to get a strike on YouTube, by the fuckery of 2020. There's YouTube, I'm sorry, there's no other way to describe it. um,
2020 and its shenanigans.
Yeah, well, this does not do it justice. Um, but Yule, for us, it's about coming out of the darkness, and coming into the lighter part of the year, when the days get longer and the nights get shorter. This is the longest night of the year. And
Hmm.
so the celebration is the end of the dark part of the year. And there are many different ways and many different time frames to celebrate Yule. It is, in many respects, as individual as a witch's practice is.
Absolutely.
So, what I would like to know from you, my friend, is what it means to you.
In a real sense, I would say it's continuation. It is a reminder that it's always darkest before the day, and you have to go through the dark to understand the light, and vice versa. I truly believe that. So I do a lot of shadow work during this time because it helps to illuminate that part of myself, which I do have a very defined sense of darkness inside of me. I'm not all happiness and light, but I don't feel now at my age that that it's not something I can't embrace fully and wholly. As you know, you've been with me for 50 years, dude. We got to be cool, kosher, and copacetic, because otherwise I won't be a whole being. So it's
Mm-hmm.
learning, it's a reminder that the shadow is as much a part of the light as as the sun. The moon has
Mm-hmm.
as much relevance as the sun does.
Yeah.
So it's that. It's a continuation of embracing the path, of embracing all the different parts of you, even the ones you're not proud of, the ones that you try to shove into the corner and pretend they don't exist, that eventually will come back to bite you in the butt, because
Mm-hmm.
it always does.
Well, and the trick is that it's not about pretending that they don't exist.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I've been doing a tremendous amount of shadow work in the last 7, 8 months, um, to try to, understand my darkness and my anger. Because I do think that that is my greatest flaw, is that um, I am very angry all the time. Well, was, because I have worked on this tremendously. Um, I have realized that my anger has actually served me very well, and in many cases, it's protected me.
Yeah.
Um, it is not something for me to fear, that darkness. It's just not. It's something for me to understand and to love and to show compassion to, and
Hmm.
then to work with it to become a positive force, a powerful positive force. And I'm not talking about this turn that frown upside down.
No, it's not
Because
that trite.
that's not, that's
It's
not,
not that trite.
um, but it is, understanding that this is an inherent, my outrage is very sudden, it's very immediate. My gut goes there. And that has actually served me extremely well over the years and helped me avoid some really bad decisions.
Yes.
Um,
Those points in our life when we question all of our life choices.
yeah. But I've made some doozies, but it's, that that almost immediate disdain for some people, or for some situations that, objectively people are going, you're not being very fair. Well, screw that. My gut is telling me to run the F away. So, no,
Hmm.
not even no thank you, just straight up no. In that way, this anger response that I have to things that are inherently not right,
Yeah.
or at least in my view, because this is the other thing. The anger functions through my lens of what is not right. And
Right.
a lot of times, especially as you are growing up and you are growing into an adult, and you you're kind of learning the way that the world works, that response as a younger person is not a well informed response, and it's not a selfless response,
Oh,
because you frame everything through the lens of how it affects you. And even as
yeah.
adults, a lot of us do the same thing. That's instinct. That's
It
being
becomes it
human.
becomes it becomes at least I can't speak on everybody else because I'm not everybody else, but I know in my life, having been shaped a lot more by darkness than light, I carry around that darkness like it's my armor, like it's my shield,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, yeah, and I
And
think
I'm
that's
learning
very
as
common.
as I get older, I'm realizing that my darkness can be a weapon.
Hmm.
It's not just something that can protect me. It can actually be weaponized to do great good. Um,
Or it can be a weapon to do great damage. Ask
it,
anybody that's seen me truly, genuinely, wholly, fully invested in being angry. And that's the part
yeah,
that for so long had been scary. But again, going back to kind of the shadow work and what this craft has done in 2020 and what Yule means to us is, for me, realizing that that had been my armor, but again, it had done its job. It's time to retire. It's time to, take it easy a little bit. I got this now.
Yeah. The warrior's
Um,
rest.
and the old warrior, speaking of warriors, has kind of laid a few truth bombs on me too, as I've done card readings for myself with him. Um, but, and then we come to Yule and we come to my favorite time of the year. I have so many remarkable memories of this time of the year with my family and that sense of love that my mother always created in our home. Even right after my father died, I was 10, my brother was 9, my sister was 13, 14. Um, we were so young, and that my father died in October, and the Christmas following, we all felt that very keenly.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom, she was a force of nature, and she did everything that she could to, you know, there's no not recognizing that everything was different, but she
Mm-hmm.
made sure that home was home. And that meant something. Home was love and home was safety. And it has always, always been one of my favorite times of year. I remember all those years growing up, and even as an adult, when I would get back for Christmas, the laughter. I mean, so hard that your face would ache and your sides would hurt. And telling stories about, each of us growing up or talking about just some of, because for some reason that I'm not entirely sure about, but I think it has something to do with the cosmos. Um, my brother, my sister, and my life, and my mom's life when she was alive, just had this, cavalcade of absurdity and these situations where you're like, how am I even here right now? How did this even happen? Why is this even a thing? And so we would talk about that, and we would laugh. I mean, so hard that, tears would be streaming down our face. And we would just be beside ourselves because it would be so funny. And when we were all together, even when we weren't all together, maybe it was just mom and me and Nick, or Nick and Becky and mom, when we were adults. We had a couple of times where we all three could manage to get together at the same time. um, we had just the best time, and it was always a time of love, and it was almost always a time of welcoming. And even when we were
Mm-hmm.
kids, we would welcome people into our home that had no place else to go. On Christmas, especially, we lived in Charleston. We had, people that Dad worked with on the ships that maybe couldn't get home for Christmas, but they'd all be welcome at our house. And the home was always welcoming. So, when Yule rolls around, when this time of the year rolls around every year, it's very nostalgic. And I know I've talked about that a lot of videos, but it's very nostalgic because it is, this warmth this warmth of my mom's love. And I've had some truly interesting experiences in the last few weeks because um I've been sitting now. My mom and I, I know I'm kind of all over the place. There's a point to this story, I promise. It's not just the rum talking. Um, that one of my things my mom and I always did when we were together is that we would go play the slot machines. We loved to play the slot machines, play penny slot machines. And I love to watch like slot machine videos on YouTube, like Brian Christopher, King Jason, Slot Cats, all of those guys that do these, live casino play videos where they're playing slot machines. I just get a kick out of them. But I was it was probably last Sunday night, a week ago, that I was watching videos. Chris was asleep, and I kept smelling my mom's perfume. She used to wear Chloe Narcisse or Narcissus, or I don't know how to pronounce the word. I'm just saying right now. It was Chloe Narcissus something. But it was a very distinct smell, and she loved that perfume, and she always wore it. And I kept smelling that perfume, and it's strange because I don't have that in my home. Um, but I kept and then I would feel her with me, like she was just sitting there,
Giving you a
um,
hug.
giving me a hug, and in the chair and a half, just watching videos with me. Um, and one of the reasons that I watch so many even now is that after she died, um, this is about a week after her funeral, and I was watching the Slot Cats actually, and um, they were doing the thing, having a good time, and it just reminded me of how my mom and I would behave or misbehave when we were at a casino. And it was like at that point that simultaneously my strength in putting up a brave face about losing somebody I loved almost more than anybody but my husband um, in the world. My strength in keeping it together vanished and then rebuilt itself in the same span of a few minutes. And I realized that I could remember and I could feel that. And
Gave yourself permission to feel those things.
yeah, because I needed to do it to heal, and then I did, and then I found myself by the end of that video, after this huge cry session, by the end of the video, watching the Slot Cats genuinely smiling, like just an easy, genuine smile. Um, Long way of saying that Yule for me is about memories, about
Yeah.
love that I have been fortunate enough to have, love that I have lost, and remembrance. Um, but also the possibilities that come when we come to the light part of the year. And I, personally will celebrate until the new year, until the calendar new year, until the 31st. Um, and then we'll greet 2020 and segue the Great Conjunction, which technically started today. Um,
This has been a year of great cosmic um
Kerfuffle.
yeah, because I mean at
I have
Samhain,
disappeared.
that's okay. You're still with us. Um at Samhain we had, the big moon. There was so much going on at Samhain, and Samhain was super.
Mm-hmm.
and and then now we have this going on at Yule. This has been a year cosmically of saying, I think honestly it is the universe's way of saying great change is coming. Y'all better prepare yourself. Buckle up, Buttercup. You
Yeah.
thought 2020 was going to be it? Nah, it's going to be 2021, and it's going to be beautiful and amazing and so transformative, I think, probably for
Mm-hmm.
all of us, because we're going to be coming out of this COVID situation, I think,
Eventually.
positively, I hope. Maybe not for a while, because vaccines are not going to be readily available to people who live like me, who,
There's like a new mutant strain in the UK, but why worry about that
yeah,
right now?
never mind. It'll just become a part of who we are. But it's going to be a brand new way for us to think about
Mm-hmm.
how to go forward in the future,
Yeah.
because
Well,
we can't stay like in our houses forever. We have to, we crave that human
oh yeah.
connection.
Yeah, even me, and I'm like a huge introvert where I'm like, I never realized until COVID-19 that my lifestyle was quarantine. But even I'm getting restless where it's just
Yeah.
like, I really want to leave the house for more than just when, I left to vote. And I snuck in a trip to Goodwill because I was looking for some candle holders and some jars and stuff because, witch. But I I want to leave the house more often than just when the doctor wants my blood. I would very much, I want to go shopping. I'm reminded of this scene in Private Benjamin where she's just so over basic training. Goldie Hawn is going, I want to wear sandals. I want to go to lunch. And I'm like, man, that is a mood right now. And we kind of make light of it to kind of deal with it. But the fact of the matter is that I've lost people.
Yeah.
And many of my dear friends have lost people. Family has lost people. This is the ugliest, worst thing that we have faced in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And it is, it's hard to wrap your head around 317,000 Americans have died of this since March.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart. And the humor is kind of that defense mechanism, those walls coming up. Because you're so beat down by the news. You're so beat down by all the other shenanigans. Everything else that's going on. And it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And, and that's just for people that don't pay attention to the cosmos.
Yeah.
When you are paying attention, and see, I see remarkable opportunity in the Great Conjunction here. Saturn is about structure. Jupiter is about taking a sledgehammer to structure. Taking a sledgehammer to the rules, taking a sledgehammer to conventions, taking a sledgehammer to the status quo, just expanding with new ideas and possibilities and potentials, and influencing this desire to see more and to see better. And, if we lean into that, now there's going to be a good number of us that fight because we love the status quo.
Yeah, it's our comfort spot.
It is. It's, you love what you know, even if what you know is,
Crap.
you're waist deep in manure sipping tea. You still know that. But there's so much more. And Jupiter's no longer giving us a choice in this conjunction.
We're going into the undiscovered country, my friends.
Right. And so, it's not the ooga booga that that a lot of people are saying the world is going to end. The second coming is coming. We're entering an era of possibility and of progress. The planets are pulling at us, whether, you believe in planetary influences or you don't. And I personally very much do. The planets, those influences are going to start pulling you in a direction. The universe is going to start pulling you forward. Whether you like it or not.
Sometimes.
Right. Whether you like it or not. And it's not a bad thing. Progress is not ugly. Progress is how we as a species have basically achieved everything we've ever achieved ever.
Yes. Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Progress. So I may be slightly buzzed, but and I know this has kind of gone. I had an idea of what was going to happen tonight, and yeah, that's just.
It's never that way when we're on the phone. Come on. We go all over. We
do.
We visit all the constellations. We're like, come on. This is going to be
like
right.
Our tour of the galaxy. Like Lisa and Shan do the planets.
Yep. That's awesome. I'm down. Let's go.
Me too. Who are we going to get to write the script? But
I'm a
there's
writer. I'll write it.
this has been, I mean, like, it has just been kind of off the rails, but there's so much, so much that I always want to talk about. And when I talk about the craft, when I talk about, what that means to me.
Yeah. So that's why
Um,
this is going to be a series. It's going to be a witch talk with Lily and Shan.
okay, I'm down every
I am
month,
too. Let's go.
same time, same which channel. Because yeah, it is a journey, and I think we're all on the path for slightly different reasons. I've
Absolutely.
always just been drawn here. And there were so many things that I did as a kid that didn't make a whole lot of sense
That do
until
now.
oh yeah, I collected skeleton keys for no reason at all. What 10-year-old collects skeleton keys? This is what I would like to know. No 10-year-old ever
I
collected
did
skeleton.
too.
Okay, so you and me.
I did too. I was all about the keys, like every kind of key, like the older the
I had
better.
a key collection. I had actually had two cigar boxes filled with keys. I would buy them at auctions. And they're like, here, just take them, kid. And I mean, yeah, I had a fascination with keys. And I never knew why until I discovered Hecate and
Yeah.
how powerfully
Amazing
she
she
had
is.
been. Yeah, well, yeah, but how powerfully she had been influencing my life since I was a child. I used to build forts in my backyard with fallen branches and leaves and stuff, and took all these bricks that I found and I made like a brick fireplace, and I used to pretend that I was the witch of the wood and brewing potions. I would play. I didn't have many friends, but
Neither did I, so
I
it's fine.
I would just play back there by myself for hours. I've always my entire life believed in magic. I
Yes.
have like I could feel it all around me. And when you're 10, you don't much understand that. And
Yeah.
then, when I really started to realize and I was in college, um, it's such a hard time reconciling with these things that I knew were true, these things about the universe and about energy and about things that God created, the divine created. And I default to God because that's the way that I was raised. But the things
Yeah.
that the divine created, um, that somehow we weren't meant to use. That don't make any kind of sense at all.
No.
And you
Well,
know,
I think I was blessed. I was blessed because in my childhood, one of the things that my grandfather, my father's father, who was Apache Mescalero, um, he always told me this. He'd say, baby girl, you don't have to go to church to be in church. Church exists inside of you. You can just go outside
into the
and
temple that the
and
divine created.
that is the most beautiful way that you can create that you can connect with your higher being, whoever that is, whatever that is. Creator speaks to all of us in lots of different ways
That's why we have so many different names like
and so
Bast and
many different,
Hecate and
yes,
Apollo and Ares and Mercury, Aaron of the Ways. I mean, so many cultures, so
I,
diverse, so spread out across the planet, across the face of the earth. And
yeah,
every single one of them believes in divinity.
yes. It's just different avatars for the same
Many paths, uh, common
to a,
center. I
yes,
am not a Wiccan, but um, that is, one of the things that I have read in my reading where that was like, I have believed this my entire life. This makes perfect sense to me.
right.
I am not alone. I am not like this weird heretic child that's gonna wind up a gnarled and evil witch in the woods that eats children or something and gonna burn in hell for all eternity. Um, that what I feel is the pull of the energy of the divine to recognize their creation to
Yes.
worship in their creation, to understand or to try to understand, because I don't think there is full understanding, but to try to understand to the best understand the temple they have created for us, the paradise here that they have created for us that we're supposed to be
Right.
taking care of.
Yes. Too many times I think there's too much stress on what you get after you die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but look at everything that's here while you're alive. There's
Well,
so
I'm
much
thinking to
you'll never
myself,
see at all, you know?
paradise, only after you die. Um,
Why do you gotta
then,
die?
well, it's not
Embrace
even
life,
that. I mean,
dude.
it's just like, really, that's, for an all-knowing, omnipresent, omniscient, that's just not a good plan.
Yeah. And
Um,
you only get your rewards after you've served your time. No.
yeah, the earth is not a prison. I think the earth is where we're supposed to learn
Yeah, it's our classroom.
to be human.
Yeah. To embrace our divinity. Because divine exists in
And our
every being.
flaws, because even
Mm-hmm.
our flaws, you know we are our flaws, I mean, it's so ingrained in us to look at our flaws as something that must be repressed instead of something that should be understood and shown compassion to,
Mm-hmm. Our scars are
and
beautiful.
exactly. What's the go? I can never remember the name of the Japanese way of mending a broken piece of pottery
With gold.
with gold. That it is beautiful, more beautiful because it was broken and remade.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're
Um,
talking about. I don't know what the name of
yeah,
it
and
is either.
I can never remember what the name of it is, but it's um, that's I think you don't defeat your darkness, you understand it and you show it compassion, because your darkness is born from from the loving compassion that you were not shown
Yeah.
in that particular way. It was something that you needed, and it's through no fault of the people around you, because maybe they didn't understand what you needed. That darkness is born out of a need that went unfulfilled, a really important need that went unfulfilled.
Yeah.
There's no villain in that story. There's just that that darkness is a part of you, and the whole of you needs love, compassion, understanding. So
Yeah.
we
It's
are
being able
so.
to hold your child and say, we're gonna be okay. Look how far we've come.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
I've been told my whole life, I think one of the first memories I have of my father, which my father is now my best friend, and I love him with all of my being, but he was not a good person when I was growing up. And one of the first images, one of the first things that I have of my father is him coming home drunk,
Mm-hmm.
beating the crap out of me and telling me that I was a mistake and that he wished I'd never been born. And I was 6.
That'll give
I
birth
was,
to some darkness, my dear.
so I have been walking in the darkness for a really, really long time. And I'm really super comfortable there and I don't mind it.
No,
I don't.
we do learn to be. I've always been a child of the moon. I have
Hmm.
always been more comfortable under the moonlight. Um, and that's not even necessarily inherently because of my trauma or my darkness, as much as it is just that is where I have always felt the most
Safe.
alive. That is where I have always felt that I thrived. Um, I mean, there's so much to talk about. There's so much that kind of, we talk about our trauma and the psychology and all of this. I think that next time that we get together, let's talk about how this craft has helped us discover the ways to work with the darkness inside
Yeah. Because it
and
saved my life.
improve.
I will tell you that.
Yeah,
This path has saved my life on multiple occasions.
my anger saved my life, because I was 35, and I mean, things that Chris and I were struggling because it was just bad. We moved to Texas and everything just fell apart. And I was feeling so just worthless. And it was my 35th birthday. And I'm like, no one would fucking care. Everybody would be fucking relieved if I just died. And it was my anger that was like, wait a fucking minute. Nuh-uh. This
Screw
is not
them.
bigger than I am. Screw them. I'm doing this for me. And it was that anger that just kicked me right in the ass and said, oh, no, 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 Missy.
Mm-mm. We ain't
This is
going
not
out
bigger
like
than
that.
us. No. And it was that anger that kept me going, because I got angry. I got angry with this
Situation.
situation, feeling like I've been feeling like life just kept happening to me. And my anger was like, you know what? Buckle up, because we're going to be happening to life.
Yep.
And it was that, kind of a revelatory thing. And I started writing, and Chris is sitting, I know, in the living room going, she needs to finish your damn book. But I did. And
Same.
that really, it really did save my life at that point, because I was at such a low point. And then 10 years later, it was my cats that saved my life. So I hit another really low point. But it just, but it's also amazing at how the ritual, the craft, and the guidance of the divine and the
And
Lord in
how it
relation,
comes to you in
how
those
it comes to
quiet,
you, how it
yeah, in
speaks
those
to you,
quiet moments when you need it most, it's always there to answer the call.
and how it
Always.
teaches you to be present in the moment.
Yes, absolutely.
What is yet to come will be what is yet to come. What has
Hmm.
gone before is gone.
It's over
Where
and
you are
done.
right now is where you need to be. And that's, I think, a big thing. So there are so many things. Oh, by the way, happy Yule, y'all. We touched on that for about a half a second.
Happy
Um,
Yule!
Happy Yule. But there are a lot of things that I would like to revisit here and, talk about a
Monthly
lot more.
witch talks yet to
Monthly
come.
witch talks. And any of you folks watching that are
Thank
in the
you.
witchy way or want to join, feel free to drop me a line at pausepursandmagics@gmail.com. If you want to take part in a witch talk, we would certainly love to have you. But next month, I know that Shan and I will be here, talking more about our lives and our journeys in witchcraft. And I do want to talk more about, how each witch has a very, very unique and very individual practice.
Yes.
And that there is really no wrong
Wrong
way
way.
to do
There's no
this.
wrong way.
That
Embrace it all, my friends. Embrace it all.
one of the most beautiful and appealing things of the craft is that your relationship with the divine, or however you view gods and goddesses, a singular divine creator, however you view it, it is individual to you. It is as individual as you are, as unique and beautiful and special as you are. And I think that, happy Yule. But if I'm leaving you with anything right now, it is, don't let anybody tell you that how you are choosing to honor your god, your goddess, your gods and goddesses is wrong. Your relationship with them is sacred and unique to you
And beautiful.
and beautiful. So, my friends, my family, thank you so much for joining. If you have watched this live and stuck through till the end, you guys rock and deserve like a badge or something. If you want to see more of this, please hit the subscribe button,
And the
um,
thumbs up.
and the thumbs up if you liked what you saw. And also, if you want to be notified when I really have, maybe I've had two of these. I'm such a lightweight.
Click
It's
the
just so
bell.
Click the bell to be notified when I send out my next video, which hopefully will be sometime maybe this week. Steph, I love you to death, my beautiful friend. Love, love, love you. I'm so glad that you decided to join me tonight. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Shan, for your support and for pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me
Yeah,
to do the YouTube thing. So here we are doing the YouTube thing. I will probably not drink 2 drinks next time, but maybe I will. Who knows? Anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. Shan, my friend, I love you to the moon and back. Thank you so much for joining me today.
you're so
And
welcome. I love you too, my sister.
I love you. I
Merry
love you. I
meet,
love you.
merry part, merry meet again.
So mote it be. Happy Yule, y'all. We'll
Happy
see you
Yule.
soon. Bye.
Bye.